how's it going? Welcome to the Mennonite farmhouse. I'm Leanne, and today we are canning vegetable soup. And you can find it on page 108 in the ball book, 402 in the complete guide to home preservation. And I'm sure you can also, if you don't have a canning book, find it on freshpreserving.com. This recipe I tripled, and it took me 3 days to prep. Just because if you did it all one day, oh, you would be, you'd be on your back. But probably because I tripled the batch, I blanched and peeled and chopped my tomatoes one day, and I shelled my lima beans that same day. Then I chopped my onions while I was making sloppy joe starter another day. Then the day I canned it, I thawed out my corn from my freezer, went to the garden and harvested my celery because I didn't want to go to the storm during Ida. And what else peeled my potatoes from my potato bed. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but if you have more hands than I do, it would be less work, or light work as we would say in our church. This soup is very versatile. I can open it up 5 days in a row and never have the same soup twice. But you're gonna stick around for that after I'm done canning, and I'm gonna show you what I did last night that my husband loved. And I wish I would have recorded him saying, "That's not vegetable soup." The way he said it, I knew he really loved it. Let's get started. All right, here are your ingredients. We have chopped tomatoes, chopped potatoes, chopped carrots, sweet corn, chopped celery, and chopped onions. You also need 6 cups of water along with your lima beans. I would just like to add that all my ingredients that I'm using in this recipe were homegrown either by my brother on his produce farm or by my husband and I, and minus the carrots. The carrots I wouldn't have had space in my refrigerator for because that is high-end real estate around here. But I'm very proud to say that everything that's going in this pot is homegrown. All right, we're gonna bring this to a boil, then we're gonna reduce to a simmer and cook it for 15 minutes. Then we'll get our jars ready, wash them up, get the canner fired up, and we'll be good to go. Well, on my stove being electric coil, it took me about 30 minutes to bring it to a boil. So now we're gonna time it for 15 minutes and simmer it. Now I'm using a stainless steel spoon that's non-reactive, and I also use wooden spoons, but I can't find my big one. And there's no one to beat with it anyhow. So, all right, when 15 minutes is up, we'll get our jars washed in the meantime and get the canner fired up. Since we're done simmering, I'm gonna put a half a tablespoon of salt in there, because usually when I season it, when I open the jar, I'm usually adding seasonings like Italian dressing seasoning. So I don't wanna add too much now. I like to emphasize how I'm ladling this right out of the pot. You just want to make sure you're getting equal parts broth to the vegetables, because you don't want the vegetables to be too thick. are turning this vegetable soup into cheeseburger soup. And right now I'm browning 1 pound of hamburger to get started. And we'll make sure it gets cooked before we'll add anything else. This is probably the thing that takes the longest, cooking the meat. All right, the hamburger's done, and the quickest way to drain off your meat is just to use a paper towel and get in there and get all that fat off there. The soup. And some chicken stock, since I'm almost out of beef. And we'll let this come up to a boil. Then we'll thicken it with some flour. Or you could use arrowroot if you're gluten-free. Probably want to put in maybe a teaspoon of basil and parsley. I want to put any more in than 3/4 of a teaspoon salt. 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. All right, we'll be back when it comes up to milk here. I say 3/4 of a cup. Now, cheese is a staple in this house. Like, we have a cheese store. So you want to put this on simmer. All right, there's about 2 cups of cheddar there. And we're gonna just have it on low until husband comes home to try it after his long day of work. So at this point, you want to taste it, because if you're the cook, you want to make sure it's right? I think it needs more cheese. I'm sure my husband will top it with cheese. All right, we're gonna let this simmer until husband gets home. And if you're gonna hand this out to friends, you want to taste test with another spoon. I think it needs salt. I'm gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon. Maybe. Oh yeah. That is the money maker. Well, it can't be too bad if you're eating it.
No, it's very good.
All right. You can obviously add your canned beef, or if you don't have canned beef on hand, you can just cook a roast overnight and then add it to your soup the next day. I like adding rosemary to beef. It gives it a wonderful flavor. I've also added taco seasoning to my soup, then topped it with corn chips. That's a lovely soup. Now, this, I don't know if there's any more of this anywhere in the world, but this is the last of the Wendy's chili seasoning. Since I used to be a manager at Wendy's, and when they discontinued this, we still had a case of seasoning left. So it's probably not as powerful as it was in its prime, but I still use it. So you can add chili seasoning to it, add beans, like kidney beans or cannellini beans or navy beans. It gives it a nice flavor and a variation. Or you can use Tony's with some venison, because venison needs all the help it can get. Ask me how I know. But venison's very good in chili. In fact, my husband will actually eat it. Then, this is one of my favorites. Adding chicken with an Italian seasoning blend. I have an actual recipe I'll link down below. And adding this, which is celery powder, my homegrown. I'm telling you, if you don't do this, you're missing out. I don't know why they don't sell this at the store. And if they sell it on Amazon, I'm sure it's like $10 a 100 grams or something ridiculous. Learn how to grow it yourself and dehydrate it. I'm telling you, you will thank me. And then you can make it fun for kids by adding alphabets. Or you can add fun other shapes of pasta. Or you can, the possibilities are endless is what I'm saying. That cheeseburger soup that I made last night, that was wonderful as well. And I was talking to a friend and she said, why don't you just drain the broth off, save the broth in ice cube trays, and use that as a quick casserole. Like just get a can of cream or something, add it to your vegetables and maybe some beef that you have on hand, and make that into a casserole within seconds and throw it in the oven. I'm sure you would have to heat it up first on the stove, but that's a quick meal that you don't have to work for. Thanks for stopping by the farmhouse, and if you found value in this video, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out, and I sure do appreciate it. And here's some other fine videos that you might like.